What happens when you shatter the ultimate contract with the creator of the universe? Is it just game over? Or do you actually get a second chance? Today, we are talking about the rewriting of the most famous set of rules in human history, the Ten Commandments. Let's dive into the ultimate do-over and see what it takes to repair a broken relationship. We are picking up the pieces of a devastated relationship. The original stone tablets, written by the finger of God himself, are lying in rubble at the bottom of the mountain. The ultimate contract between God and this newly freed nation has been completely shattered by the golden calf betrayal. The lingering question hanging over the camp is terrifying. With the covenant physically broken, is that it? Are they completely abandoned in the desert? Or does God offer them a chance to try again? In a make-or-break moment to repair the relationship, God calls Moses back up the mountain. But this time, Moses has to do the hard work himself. He is commanded to chisel 2 brand new stone tablets, exactly like the first ones. Furthermore, he must climb the mountain alone in the early morning. Nobody else is allowed anywhere near the peak. This isn't a public spectacle. It is a deeply personal, incredibly solitary meeting to make things right. Before any new rules are laid down on the blank stone, God does something incredible. He introduces himself all over again. The renewed covenant isn't built on cold laws. It is built on exactly who God is. Surprisingly, the first things God mentions about himself aren't raw power or furious punishment. He leads with compassion, mercy, patience, and unfailing love. That beautiful declaration sets the tone for the entire new agreement moving forward. However, this profound mercy introduces a complex duality. Forgiveness is real, and it is absolutely on the table for the Israelites. But that doesn't mean they get a free pass for rebellion. God makes it clear that actions still have generational consequences. We are introduced to a complex character who is both incredibly merciful and totally uncompromisingly just. That delicate, perfect balance between deep mercy and strict justice becomes the brand new foundation for their restored relationship. With the relationship restored, God lays out the practical rules of engagement. The very first batch of instructions aggressively hammers home the concept of loyalty. This is a direct, unfiltered response to the golden calf betrayal. God commands them to make no treaties with surrounding nations, tear down their altars, and never make cast idols again. The message is unmistakable. If this relationship is going to survive, their worship must be entirely exclusive. There is zero room for divided loyalties. To keep them loyal, the covenant is woven into the very rhythm of their calendar year. 3 times a year, all the men are required to stop working and show up before God for mandatory festivals. These festivals build their entire year around gratitude and active remembrance. The Festival of Unleavened Bread forces them to remember their escape from Egypt, while the harvest festivals force them to acknowledge that their land and their food are unearned gifts. This daily dedication goes even further. The command to give God the first and best applies to absolutely everything: their animals, their crops, and their families. Even their time is strictly structured, with a mandatory day of rest. Specific, unusual ritual laws, like the rule against cooking a young goat in its mother's milk, act as boundary markers to permanently set them apart from their neighbors. With these terms accepted, the deal is sealed, and the covenant is officially set in stone once again. But Moses does not come down the mountain the same man who went up. For 40 days and 40 nights, he miraculously survived without eating or drinking. This wasn't a standard business meeting. It was a supernatural encounter that fundamentally altered his physical body. He walks down completely clueless that his face is literally glowing with radiant light from speaking directly with God. Aaron and the Israelites are terrified. Moses is forced to wear a veil over his face to shield them from the holy glow, only taking it off when he speaks with God. All right, we've witnessed the ultimate do-over, the complex balance of mercy, and the radiant face of Moses. Now, let me leave you with 2 questions to sit with. First,
God defined himself by mercy before laying down the law. Do you tend to judge others by their mistakes first, or by your compassion for them? Second, bridging the broken connection created a leader who had to be visually veiled from his own community. What does that tell us about what it really takes to bridge the massive gap between the human and the divine? Take a moment, breathe, and let them sink in.